Well, welcome once again to another Johnny Torch live broadcast. A very special broadcast we've convened today. An emergency, as it appears, has come up. We've got some interesting stories coming out. I honestly forgot all about San Diego Comic-Con this year. Usually, it's the prime event for geeks and nerds everywhere. We're all waiting for that little tidbit of information that they'll drop for us at Hall H. And this year, I wasn't even anticipating it because really there's nothing going on that I'm looking forward to. At least I thought that before some of these news stories dropped. We'll get into all that in just a moment. But first, welcome into the show. This is Torch News Roundup number 292. And we always have a great show when it's Comic-Con weekend. We try to find out all the interesting stuff, bring you some of the tidbits that we find, some rare behind the scenes scoops that I've diligently tried to uncover, a couple of images maybe you won't find too many other places. And we're going to kick all that off in just a moment. But first, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We want you to check out our comic, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye. We have the most recent issue up, of course, on Indie Planet. I'm not sure if it's up at Indie Planet yet. I filled the application out for it to be there for purchase. But if it's not there, you can find us on Global Comics as a digital download. You could, of course, give me a DM on Twitter. The link is in the description below or in my website, the contact page. Just give me a little note and I'll be able to get one out to you through PayPal. And that's the only way to get an autographed copy, of course, is through my contact page or a DM. We've got our most recent issue, Nursery Crimes, which is the final installment of the Man of Our Times epic. We've got the first season of The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye in the can. We wrapped it up a full season, and we're beginning our second season, coming out with another issue, hopefully by the end of the year. I'm making some great progress on it, and I want to be able to show you some stuff, some panels at least. I finally finished one page, completely finished it. And I want to wait till I have a little variety of images to show. I don't want to just show one or two panels from that page. I'm going to wait till I get a couple of pages done. Then we'll release a couple of panels. I could do maybe a page instead of panels, but it's always more interesting when you get a flavor of the story instead of just getting one page to try to kind of wrap your head around. All right, so Nursery Crimes, of course, takes place. The infamous villain Pencil Neck has been released from Lockmore Prison's wing for the criminally insane. He has vowed to turn over a new leaf, as it were. Bullets Bourbon, of course, Private Eye, knows that not everything is always as it seems, and Pencil Neck really has a plan to restore his lost powers of erasing and bring about revenge on all the people that put him in the prison, in the asylum. And of course, Bullets Bourbon is the prime target, but he captures all his friends, puts them in deadly traps that are reminiscent of nursery rhymes. And it's a very exciting, thrilling adventure. We lean more into Bullets Bourbon as a detective in this one. A lot of times the focus is on the man of action. He can throw fists and, he can shoot with pinpoint accuracy. But what happens when his knowledge, his skills are put to the test? When he has to uncover the clues? When he has to figure out a way out of death traps? How will the hero respond? Well, this adventure puts him front and center in the middle of all that. And I was quite pleased with it, the way it turned out. And we also lean a little more into the comedy here because, as I said before, the previous stories, particularly the Family Jewels, was leaning a bit into the serious, the drama, and I wanted to make sure we get back into the exciting realm of the kind of flavor that only Bullets Bourbon provides, which is sort of the heightened reality, the humor in the dangerous circumstances. It's not meant to be taken as Shakespeare. You know, the Bullets Bourbon world, I've always tried to make it fun. And this was meant to be one of the more fun adventures. As I said, they're all fun, but this is more whimsical, more comedic, if you will. But of course, the stakes are always high. The danger is always great, no matter what. And Bullets has his hands full with the newly emerging powers of Pencil Neck returning to him. And how is he going to get away from Pencil Neck and his incredible powers? Well, you'll find out in the next astonishing issue, which is available to you right now, Nursery Crimes, Casebook 12, and the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, the ongoing saga of a down-on-his-luck private eye who takes on the most colorful collection of villains imaginable for the stake of Stark City in each and every thrilling and exciting adventure. So make sure you check that out. We really want to thank you for perusing if you have the series so far. We've got a lot more to go. We're not intending to go anywhere anytime soon. Hopefully, I'll have some appearances lined up for, like I said last week, in the final months of the year. We'll probably do a couple of shows, hopefully, and we'll get that all on track and let you know as soon as possible. All right, so with that out of the way, let's take a look at our first topic here, our first subject, as we take a look at Comic-Con and what we've learned this past week. First off, let's take a look before we get into the Marvel stuff. The only real DC stuff that was going on that I'm aware of anyway is the Superman and Lois clip. They did a panel apparently. I don't think a whole lot of interesting stuff was revealed in that panel. They said that Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch were interested in playing Batman and Catwoman if they were not allowed to do Superman and Lois anymore. That would be interesting. Let me see if I can find some copy about this. My notes are a mess. Superman and Lois Season 4 premieres on the CW with 2 episodes on October 17th. This, of course, is only a 10-episode season, and it is the final season. Apparently, we are going to see Doomsday. In a newly released extended sneak peek, Superman gives it his all in his latest battle with the seemingly unstoppable monster. Their clash rages through space, likely a cheaper option than creating a VFX metropolis that allows the Kryptonian to unleash the might of his heat vision. So, honestly, as I said last year when The Flash came to an end, I think it was last year, it seems like it's been a long time, I'm kind of ready to put the CW verse on the shelf. The lone holdout, of course, is Superman and Lois, which has been touch and go, honestly. I thought the first season was okay, second season good, third season kind of subpar. And it's kind of a balancing act. It's how much of it is going to go into the, the what do they call it? Slice of life, everyday exploits of the Man of Steel. And how do you balance that with the crazy comic booky style stuff that we want to see Superman come up against? Sort of like this. Now, my problem with this is I'm kind of over the CW now. I'm ready for them to be put aside. We've got the Gunverse on the way, and it's probably going to blow everything before it for the past 20 years out of the water. And I'm really over Doomsday. I'm really over the death of Superman, which is what this promises to be, an arc which is going to show the death and rebirth of Superman. As if we haven't gone through that how many times in the past 20 years. We're doing it here as well on Superman and Lois. Previously, we've seen this arc in the Snyderverse, in Batman v Superman / Justice League. Before that, we had a different kind of take on the death and rebirth of Superman in Superman Returns. I'm pretty much over that story. I don't need to see it again. I guess if this is the last time we'll see it, it looks like it's going to be exciting. We've got some pretty good CGI on Doomsday. I like Tyler Hoechlin a lot as Superman. I think he's done a great job. And I'm kind of sad to see him go in the same way I was sad to see Grant Gustin go as the Flash, and Stephen Amell and Melissa Benoist. They were really great, exemplary actors for their respective characters. In a way, Stephen Amell probably wasn't doing the comic book version of Green Arrow, but basically the Flash, Grant Gustin really endeared himself to a lot of people, as did Steven, as did Melissa. And I think Tyler really belongs up there on that Mount Rushmore as well of the CW characters. Those four are probably what the CW is going to be remembered for. Not to take anything away from some of the other characters that were, on the show. Katie Lotz, of course, deserves a lot of credit. But if this is the grand finale of Superman and Lois, what do you think? Are you kind of tired of Doomsday as I am? I know a lot of people are tired of Luthor and General Zod. I think there's more of a history with those characters that I can see them coming back before I see Doomsday. Doomsday, as I said, is only good for one thing, which is killing Superman. You're not going to do anything else with him. You're not going to build any other kind of story around him. You're going to see Doomsday pummel Superman to death, and then maybe Superman is able to kill Doomsday as well. That's about all you're going to get. And I kind of feel like we've seen that story enough times now. Even animated, they've done it about 3 times, I think. And it's just getting tiresome to me. But like I said, the production value is great. We've only got 10 episodes, so I imagine this is not going to really be a drawn-out storyline. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's say. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you interested in another Doomsday showdown with Superman and having it in the finale of Superman and Lois, where they really could be using the limited time to tell some other story? Or do you think this is the perfect cap to that series? Let me know in the comments below. And next, let's take a look at some of the Marvel stuff that we are highly anticipating. Captain America Brave New World. We just got the trailer not too long ago, and we talked about it on the last show. Let's see if I can bring some info up about this. Let's see. Brave New World, the Comic-Con panel, they introduced the cast of Brave New World. And again, as I said last time, I'm kind of disappointed that we're not seeing any confirmation that Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner / Incredible Hulk is in this. Liv Tyler is in this, who plays Betty Ross after 16 years. We've got Tim Blake Nelson back as Samuel Stearns after 16 years. We've got, Harrison Ford playing Thunderbolt Ross, President Ross, and we still have we've got no connection here to the actual Incredible Hulk. Now, what are they going to do? How are they going to bring the Hulk back to deal with all these characters that were introduced in his movie? Now, they can't make a Hulk movie because of Universal holding the distribution rights, and Disney's too cheap to buy them out, apparently, or to let them take a piece of the pie. So Hulk can't get his own movie. This movie should have been Hulk the movie, and it should have been done probably about 8 years ago at least. And I don't know. I really don't know what to think about this movie. Apparently, it's just going to be Captain America / the Falcon versus the Red Hulk. Apart from the Red Hulk, we also got information in who Giancarlo Esposito is playing. He's playing King of the Serpent Society, Sidewinder. Now, this is a character I'm not too familiar with in the comics. I know the Serpent Society, I'm pretty sure they had many characters come and go, such as King Cobra, Viper. It was sort of a a cabal of villains that were not unlike Hydra and stuff like that. I think it was sort of rivaling Hydra. So this is interesting. They're trying to do another Hydra. So thankfully, he's they were saying George Washington Bridge might have been the character he was playing. Thankfully, as I said last week, he's not playing, Professor X or whoever else he was trying to play. We also saw Harrison Ford showing us his impression of what he's going to look like as the Red Hulk, and he had a lot of fun with his limited time on the panel here. He said that he would have grown the mustache if asked. For some reason, they didn't ask him to. I think you need the mustache if you're going to be General Ross. They had the excuse that, mustaches are not really in for presidential candidates. So I guess that was kind of the thought behind it. I think it's just because they wanted to show off Harrison Ford. You got Harrison Ford. You don't want him to look too different. I probably would have made him grow the mustache. And apparently he wasn't against that. Let me see if I can find my notes again here. All right. A clip. This is the behind the scenes stuff. You had to be there to find out what clip they showed because they won't let them put that up on YouTube. A clip debuted featuring President Ross transforming into the Red Hulk in front of the White House. Before that, the commander-in-chief talked about the discovery of Timalt in the Indian Ocean. As expected, several countries rushed to see what they could mine from the cosmic being, and Ross then presents the people he's talking to with adamantium, meaning the indestructible metal which coats Wolverine's skeleton is in the MCU and originates from the remains of a Siestral. So this is kind of interesting stuff. They're not forgetting about the Eternals, even though Eternals 2 is probably going to be permanently on the back burner. But we'll see. That's the good thing about the MCU is they let everything simmer. Kevin Feige lets things stew like here for a dozen years or more before getting to a payoff. And Tim Blake Nelson was asked about what he could say about the leader and what's been going on with the leader all this time. He basically couldn't say anything because, he's happy to be back and he wants to work again. And hopefully, I'm hoping that the leader will be a major force going forward in the MCU. He deserves to be a heavy hitter, a Magneto, a Doctor Doom, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Doctor Doom apparently going to be the new big deal, and Kang. But I don't know if they're going to go that far with him, seeing as how they're squashing the leader into a story that is probably not going to figure at large with what the big plans are for the future. So kind of disappointing there, but I hope they don't defeat him in this first movie. Hopefully he'll get somewhere in the future. And okay, so after meeting with newly elected U.S. President Thaddeus Ross, played by Harrison Ford in his MCU debut, Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident. He must discover the reason behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. Captain America Brave New World stars Anthony Mackie, Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, Joshua Rockmore, Carl Lumbly, with Juan Carlo Esposito, Liv Tyler, Tim Blake Nelson, and Harrison Ford. The movie is directed by Julius Ona, produced by Kevin Feige and Nate Moore. Louis Desposito and Charles Neuwirth serve as executive producers. Captain America Brave New World opens in U.S. theaters Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2025. So make sure you bring that special someone to watch Captain America Brave New World with Harrison Ford hulking out for the first time ever on the big screen. I'm excited about seeing him as the Red Hulk. I'm a big Hulk fan, and as I've said many times, the MCU has not done right by the Hulk, and I really, really, really need to do that video. I got to do that soapbox. That soapbox. I got to get on my soapbox and bemoan publicly how much I hate what they've done with the Hulk and how they have not realized that character's potential. And it is very frustrating to a Hulk fan to have to see Captain America Brave New World is where you're going to deal with Thunderbolt Ross / Red Hulk, Betty Ross after 16 years, and the leader. That's not right. Hulk deserves more respect. And he's not getting it really in the MCU, especially what they did with him in Endgame and She-Hulk. It's just sad. It's a joke. It's a joke, really. And I've got to verbalize that all in a upcoming video. All right, so let's get over to another brief topic of discussion here, where they have given us some. Of course, I don't have the copy here. Wait a second. Let me. It shouldn't take a moment for me to pull this up so we have something to look at while I'm talking about. Let's see. Thunderbolts. Yes, Thunderbolts. Everybody knows Thunderbolts. And they even asked if this has anything to do with Thunderbolt Ross. Apparently it doesn't. But this is the movie which is sort of the MCU's Suicide Squad, where Marvel takes its rejects, takes its former villains, I guess, that want a new lease on life, and they're going to do something heroic as they band together for the first time ever as a team. All right, so Thunderbolts. Let's see. Upcoming for Phase 5, the MCU is set to release Thunderbolts May 5th, 2025. The film is slated to close out Phase 5 of the MCU. That doesn't sound right to me because Phase 4 and 5, I mean, 5, what is comprised of 5 so far? I mean, there's Deadpool and Wolverine, which I don't think really has any connective tissue to the MCU. And it's, what was the last film that came out? I can't even remember. That was like a year ago. Was it the Marvels? I don't know, but Phase 5 is pretty limited. I'm kind of surprised that they're saying this is the last one. I think they're wrong. Let's see. Jake Schreier directs from a script written by Eric Pearson, Lee Sung-jin, and Joanna Kahlo. David Harbour suited up as the Red Guardian to promote Thunderbolts. A trailer for the movie has not been released online, but a sneak peek premiered in Hall H and has been compared to Captain America the Winter Soldier. It boasted the tagline, "Careful who you assemble." In terms of what is included, it was primarily action shots. However, Total Film described it by saying, Yelena visits Red Guardian's apartment and tells him that her only reason to live is to kill others. They then encounter the other Thunderbolts, Bucky Barnes, John Walker, Ghost, and Taskmaster, only to discover that they've all been assigned to the same dangerous mission, and they want to know why. It's been confirmed Lewis Pullman is playing Bob, all but confirming he is the MCU's Sentry. Well, this is kind of sad that, you know, they've used Yelena in Hawkeye, which was fun. I thought it was a fun show. It wasn't great, but I do want to go back and check that out again. I've only seen it once, and it wasn't really a masterpiece by any means, but it was a fun little show that kind of brought us up to speed with Yelena. I don't know. Is this going to work? Is this something that you're looking forward to? David Harbour is a fun guy. I don't like their version of Taskmaster, so I don't know what to do with that. I think it's going to be fun to see the Ghost come back. I thought she was a very compelling character in Ant-Man and the Wasp, because she wasn't really a villain as much as sort of forced into a desperate situation. And of course, John Walker being U.S. agent, you know, I guess kind of the bright spot of Falcon in the Winter Soldier, right? I mean, he was interesting, I guess. The film stars Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. Now, I really want to see more Sebastian Stan. He was shafted, really, with them giving Anthony Mackie the Captain America suit and everything. I think it should have gone to Bucky being his longest friend and seeing that Bucky needed a identity change, an identity upgrade. Instead of calling him the Winter Soldier all the time, he could have gotten the Captain America mantle. Falcon already having the Falcon mantle. So I thought that was kind of dumb, but, que sera. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, David Harbour as Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian, Hannah John Kamen as Ava Starr, the Ghost, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, the U.S. agent, Olga Kurylenko as Antonia Dravkov, Taskmaster, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Louis Pullman has also been cast as the Sentry. Principal photography began February 26, 2024, and recently wrapped in June. The film is inspired by the Marvel Comics title of the same name, where the Masters of Evil disguised themselves as the Avengers after the apparent death of the team after the Onslaught saga. Led by Baron Zemo, the group surmised that by filling the vacuum of superhero champions, they could gain access to all the secrets of the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. Later incarnations of the team would typically consist of U.S.-controlled supervillains who attempt to earn redemption and or pardons by executing covert missions, aka they stole from the Suicide Squad. As for Thunderbolts, they will be on your screen May 2nd, 2025. So that's pretty, I don't know, I'm sold. I'll check this out, right? That sounds exciting to me. I like some of these characters, and it'll be fun to do a Suicide Squad style MCU show. A movie, excuse me. All right, let's get to and let me know what you think in the comments below about Thunderbolts. You excited about that? My excitement meter is on the rise. I'm getting excited a little bit. All right, so next up, we've got the Fantastic Four. Yes, it won't be long now, kids, before you can thrill to the exploits of Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Benjamin Grimm on the big screen. For the first time in, gosh, it's going to be 20 years. Hard to believe, right? When did Rise of Silver Surfer come out? Like 2005, 2006, maybe? I don't know, something like that. We got some more Hall H material here, some behind-the-scenes snapshots of what apparently was like a sizzle reel. They just tried to put together a couple of shots of what the guys would look like on set in costume. The filming didn't really take place too much as of yet. Let me see if I can find some copy here and all this. Let's see. Marvel Studios has announced that Pedro Pascal plays Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby, who plays Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, Joseph Quinn, who plays Johnny Storm, Human Torch, and Eben Moss Backrack, who plays Ben Grimm, the Thing, will lead the Fantastic Four First Steps cast. Now, that's interesting. It's called First Steps. I'm not sure exactly what that is referring to. This is sort of, I guess, from what I've been meant to gather, that this is sort of their kind of first mission after they become the Fantastic Four. They're not going to be showing an origin of the film. Let's see. Julia Garner has also joined the reboot as Shala Bell, Silver Surfer. Now, again, they have to change something. They have to ruin something. So this is apparently another Elseworlds type story where, Norman Rad's girlfriend becomes Silver Surfer and not him. That doesn't seem right. Recent additions to the cast include Paul Walter Hauser, John Malkovich, and Natasha Lyonne in mystery roles, along with Ralph Inson as the villainous Galactus. Director Matt Shakman worked with both Avatar, Way of the Water co-writer Josh Friedman and WandaVision's Cam Squares on the Fantastic Four First Step screenplay, with Eric Pearson of The Black Widow recently coming on board for a final polish. The movie is set to be released in theaters July 25th, 2025. So these shots look like they're going to be made as like flashback material for what these guys looked like during the mission to space. This is Johnny Storm. I don't know. I mean, The only one who looks well cast here is Vanessa Kirby. She's an attractive girl. She's a pretty blonde, and she's probably the closest thing that these characters look like. Now, Johnny, if this is in fact Johnny, is a blonde, which is a good thing. They really didn't even do that much for Chris Evans. I think they kind of lightened his hair a little bit in the second film. But if this in fact is him, yeah, he looks kind of like Johnny Storm, I guess. Vanessa Kirby, of course, looking enough like Sue Storm to pass muster. But the real problem, and Ben Grimm, he don't have to worry about Ben Grimm. He's going to become the Thing before long. But the problem is Pedro Pascal again, the mustache, the Freddie Mercury mustache on Pedro Pascal for Reed Richards. I don't like that. I didn't even like the beard on the John Krasinski version in Multiverse of Madness, if you're being fair, if I'm being honest, because I think the only time Reed Richards should have a beard is if he is in dire straits and he's been brainstorming on something for days at a time, a week at a time, barely ate, barely slept, and he's trying to figure out how to stop, the world from being nullified and incinerated or something. That's when you see that. But just him having a mustache, it just, I see Pedro Pascal. I don't see Reed Richards, and I don't understand why, with all they could do in this day and age with the Fantastic Four, why they decided to go there with Reed Richards. I just don't understand it. It really doesn't feel like authentic Fantastic Four to me. And I'm gonna, that, and with the Silver Surfer being a female, I'm going to have to, I don't know if it's going to be acknowledged, but I'm going to have to call this an Elseworlds Fantastic Four, because I don't feel it. I think that's what a lot of people who are diehard Fantastic Four fans or MCU fans in general, they got to get the feeling that you don't feel like this is the original Fantastic Four. This feels like, and they have had several adaptations. This feels like the adaptation where they really didn't know what else to do, and they kind of are just throwing their darts at the wall and hoping that this is going to work. Because the last version, which was obviously not a masterpiece, but was very good, and it really didn't take off the way that it should have. But that's on Fox. Now, Marvel, the MCU, Disney, they've got all the money in the world. They could make this thing a masterpiece if they want to. But it feels like what they're doing is they're taking what the story films were. What was his name? Tim Story did those films. And they're just trying to do their take on it. And it's like, just go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. I feel like at the end of the day, people are going to have a higher appreciation for the Tim Story films, that even with a weaker Doctor Doom and a weaker Galactus, we had a decent set of films there, a duology, if you will. We had a good cast, a strong cast. Some would try to say maybe Jessica Alba was miscast. They at least tried to make her look blonde and blue-eyed, which, we could have gotten around that by just casting a blonde, blue-eyed actress. But I mean, I did feel that she was capable in that role. I don't feel like she didn't fit in. What's his name? Eoin Griffin. He was great as Reed. They kind of worked him up in the second film. He became more prominent leader. And of course, Chris Evans and Michael Chiklis was just superb. So I really don't know if they're going to be able to top that here. And we did get confirmation that Galactus, of course, is going to be the villain. We're all excited to see an actual Galactus and not a cloud. And to reinforce that, they showed us an image here of Galactus peering into a building, possibly the Baxter building. I don't know. But they are going to show Galactus looking like the big demigod with the purple helmet and all that. So we're really excited to see that stuff happening, and in that way, hopefully they'll scratch the itch of Fantastic Four fans that we really didn't get. It's like, I guess we're not getting as good a Fantastic Four and as good a Silver Surfer as we did in Lawrence Fishburne and Doug Jones, but we are going to get a Galactus this time. So let me know what you think in the comments below. We've got to move on now to our final story. Again, I don't really want to be a pessimist with a Fantastic Four, but I just really wish that I could feel the way I felt about Captain America, Iron Man, even Spider-Man to an extent. I like Tom Holland. I didn't like what they did with that character, and I didn't like his social circle, so to speak. But I don't really see a lot of these characters being portrayed properly, like Reed Richards, like the Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer, of course, one of Stan Lee's favorite characters. You've got to do right by him. You've got to do right by him, and I don't feel like they're doing that. I don't know. I don't really know what to think. All right, let's get to our final topic here. Of course, everyone is excited about this storyline that just came out right now. The Man Who Would Be Doom. We've got RDJ as our new Doctor Doom actor in the MCU. This has taken a lot of people by surprise. I heard the rumor about a day or two before. So when I did the broadcast earlier last week, I didn't cover it because I said, well, it's strictly Rumorville right now, and maybe if the rumor gains some traction, I'll at least talk about it, because I don't like to foster rumor as if it's the real thing. But then it kind of sideswiped me, it blinded me that this came out, and they introduced on the panel floor RDJ coming out in the Doctor Doom mask and green suit. Now, I'm not sure if this is, I'm sure it's going to look a lot more polished and so forth than what he's wearing right here. Let me take a look at some copy here for you before we talk about what we think about this. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty was officially retired. So now this opens another bag of rocks or whatever, another can of worms, where Jonathan Majors, they gave him the boot because of a lawsuit where he was abusive to a girlfriend, even though that he beat that lawsuit, and it was confirmed that he did not start a physical altercation with her. I don't really understand why they're so quick to give Jonathan Majors the boot, honestly. If they felt that way about him, because some people are saying, well, he was just difficult to get along with, he wasn't an easy actor to work with, okay, so recast. Again, the MCU has got some kind of fixation on not recasting unless you're recasting Thunderbolt Ross or Rhodey or Bruce Banner, then it's okay. But you can't recast T'Challa, you can't recast Captain America, you can't recast Iron Man. Not that I would want them to recast, but my whole thing has always been, put these characters on the shelf, if you will. Put them on the shelf for a little while, bring them back when the actors are ready. Chris Evans is young enough that he can bulk up and play Captain America again. RDJ is getting up there, but he's not required to do much. He has to put on the Iron Man suit. He can do that at 70 years old. You know what I mean? There really isn't, as long as he can pass muster looking relatively healthy, you can do it. Now, here, let's see. Let me continue reading the copy. Avengers Doomsday was announced for release May 2026, 2 years from now, and Avengers Secret War set to follow a year later in May of 2027, presumably ending the multiverse saga. The biggest news to come out of Hall H panel was the revelation that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Doctor Doom. Now, this is exciting news to me. It says he'll appear in both Avengers movies, and they will be directed by Avengers Endgame helmers Joe and Anthony Russo, who steered Marvel Studios to huge success. And they will be joined by Stephen McFeely as writer of both movies. Okay, so that's all the copy I got for that. Now, there's a lot to talk about here. Now, I'm not really enamored with the Russo brothers. I told you this before. I thought they did a great job with Civil War. They did the Winter Soldier and definitely Civil War. Now, I was impressed also with Infinity War, but I don't like Endgame. I think they went way out of line with the way they treated the heroes in Endgame. And it's kind of also on the head of Kevin Feige because, like I said, they wanted to have a neat wrap up with a bow for Iron Man and Captain America and so forth. It also doesn't excuse them for what they did to Thor and Bruce Banner and so forth. But now they've got a chance to right the ship, and I hope they can with the next two Avengers movies. Whether they will or not is anybody's guess. The Fantastic Four is also set to appear in these movies, they've said already. What do you think of RDJ being Doctor Doom? Now, let's be honest. Even counting Endgame, which I'm not a fond of, you can count all the big, successful, popular movies that the MCU have had since Endgame on one hand. They are not doing very well right now. I like, if I'm going to say what the really, really great movies they had since Endgame, Multiverse of Madness, I'm very happy with. I think Spider-Man No Way Home was good. Kind of a mixed bag because I didn't like I said, the Spider-Man version, the MCU version of Spider-Man. But you bring in the old villains, you bring in the two Spider-Men from the previous series. You had a good movie. Guardians 3 was very good. Again, I'm not a huge Guardians fan. So again, we're looking at most of these films that were better than average. You know what I mean? Ant-Man, that was better than average. Shang-Chi, better than average. Were the really good monumental blockbusters? There really wasn't too many. So that's why it's understandable that they need to go back to formula. Haha, I see what I did there. And bringing in Robert Downey Jr., you know, they're not going to want to telegraph that they're bringing him back for Iron Man. So it's good to do this first. But I can imagine at Secret Wars, they're going to bring his Iron Man back, probably for another swan song. And this would be really exciting to see him as Iron Man taking on him as Doctor Doom. Now, a lot of people are complaining, well, how do you see Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom? There's so many other actors that are more suited to the role. He can't act like Doctor Doom. He doesn't look like Doctor Doom. You're going to ruin Doctor Doom. No, you got to understand. This is a RDJ variant Doctor Doom. This is not going to be the Doctor Doom proper of the MCU. This is a multiverse version. So he doesn't have to live up to the Doctor Doom with scores and scores of lore. This is a multiverse version of Doctor Doom that just happens to kind of be like Tony Stark. He doesn't have to act too different. He doesn't have to act too even doomish to be this version's Doctor Doom. I think it's exciting. I think it's the shot in the arm that the MCU needs because it needs something desperately right now because it's floundering. It's flailing out there. And any other option is basically to just reboot and shut down and start over. I would prefer that they just do something crazy like this and see if they can. I'm on board. I'm interested. I'm excited to see what they can do with a Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom. And that doesn't preclude the idea, the possibility that we're going to get an MCU Doctor Doom. That's like them bringing back Wolverine for, Hugh Jackman for Deadpool and Wolverine. That doesn't really negate anything that happened in Logan or any of the other Fox movies. You've got the multiverse at work. You've got comics. Comics itself has an escape hatch for every single character. You can get out of death. You can get out of anything with time travel, with multiverse. It's very easy to plug in these characters and just plug another one in. So I can understand the concern, but you're not ruining anything by doing this. You can have a legitimate Doctor Doom with another Doctor Doom actor that is more suited for the role, that looks more the role, that can act the part better. you can still have all that while you have Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. I think I'm kind of on the fence whether I think they should have introduced the MCU proper Doctor Doom first. I guess they're not going to do that because they want to give the spotlight to Robert Downey Jr. Now, is that going to sort of negate the reception for, the MCU Doctor Doom once he shows up? It's possible. I don't think so. I think if you give fans, honestly, probably the first comic accurate Doctor Doom in live action, they're going to gravitate to him. And again, this is not meant to be the comic book accurate Doctor Doom, which is why I'm fine with it. The other problem is, how long is he actually going to wear the mask? You know that the bigger the name, the less they're going to wear the mask. I said Doctor Doom should be a unknown, a nobody. It should be, like James Earl Jones did the voice of Darth Vader. He never spent a day on the set. He never spent a day in the costume. That's what Doctor Doom should be. Should not be showing his face. But with this, you've got the excuse. Now, as Robert Downey Jr., they're going to show his face a lot. All right. There's the excuse right there. You can have an actor show his face a lot. Next time when you do the accurate Doctor Doom, I don't want to see his face at all. And you just have, maybe in a flashback in a previous life type thing, but not as Doom. And, this gives you the best of both worlds. You can have an actor playing Doctor Doom where you have the gravitas of him taking the mask off all the time. But with the MCU proper, I would prefer to see an unknown play Doom where he doesn't take the mask off all the time. All right, so this is pretty exciting. Now, last bit of business here. What do you think about the Kang dynasty going forward? If this truly is the end of the multiverse and we're going to wrap it up with a neat little bow, that we're not going to do this kind of crazy stuff anymore, what happens to Kang? Are we going to satisfy ourselves that Ant-Man solved that problem by having Ant-Man beat Kang, and we can just kind of forget about the Council of Kang, and we can just sweep that under the rug, and we can say that the multiverse Doom destroyed them? That's probably where they're going to go, so that we can put an end to that. I would be fine with that because I am not a big fan of Kang, to be honest with you. It's a convoluted character. It wasn't really the most captivating way to plunge us into another phase or two. I'm glad that we got what we got with Loki Season 2, which was, again, sort of a subpar offering. And I was happy with Ant-Man 3, which I'm forgetting the name now, Ant-Man and the Wasp Evolution or whatever it was. But it was okay. That's what I mean. It's like we've got some stuff that's okay. Let's move on from the okay stuff to the really great stuff now. And I think this is a way to get us into that sphere now. So let me know what you think. What do you think about Robert Downey Jr. taking over as the new Doctor Doom, at least for the foreseeable future, for the upcoming 2 Avengers movies that are going to be coming out back to back? You know they're going to move these dates, though, don't you? You know they're going to move these dates. Another question I have for you now is, now that James Gunn has got the DC universe, which they showed, I don't have a clip of this, but they showed the DCU banner now is going to be the icon that we grew up with, most of us, in the 70s and 80s, which is the DC Comics logo. So we've got James Gunn doing Superman, doing a bang-up job from what we've seen. Looks really exciting. Looks like he knows what he's doing. Then on the other side, you've got Kevin Feige, who's saying, all right, I'm up in the ante. We're going to bring the Avengers back to an event level like you've never seen. We're bringing in Robert Downey Jr. We're bringing him back. We're bringing him back as Doctor Doom. How do you like that? What are you more excited for? Are you more excited for what James Gunn is doing with Superman? Are you more excited about what Kevin Feige is doing with the Avengers? Where is this going to take us? Do you think this is the beginning of another renaissance? Is this a renaissance only for the DCU? Or is this going to extend and we're going back to the renaissance of the MCU? Because the MCU dropped the ball. They fumbled the bag and they just lost themselves. They had a couple of good ideas that they couldn't really bring through to fruition. Do they get back on track with this? I want to know all the answers to all these questions, and I want you to tell me them in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter and let me know what you think, because there's some exciting times ahead for the superhero fan. I felt like the genre was running out of gas, and like I said, I'm not one of those types that say the genre is dying, it's dead, we've done all we could do, and we're tapped out, and nobody's interested in these movies anymore. No, that's nonsense. We just needed some more fidelity to the source material, and we also needed some more interesting ideas that would carry us through the next couple of years, the next phase or two. And I think we're on the right path now. I think we're on the right track with James Gunn spearheading the DCU, and with Kevin Feige hopefully getting all his ducks in a row. I mean, he's got some interesting things, some not so great things. I mean, they're going to have to win me over with the Fantastic Four, but in the same way, I think Gunn is going to have to win me over with some of his projects. I'm not crazy about Brave and the Bold and introducing Damian this early. They're going to have to win me over with that one. Again, Marvel's got some interesting things. We've got Daredevil Born Again on TV coming up. I'm excited about that. Charlie Cox back again as Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio. And apparently we've got the rest of the cast back with Deborah Ann Wall. DC also got some interesting things on tap as well. We've got Supergirl, the movie coming up too as well. That's going to be exciting. So again, we'll just see how this goes, but let me know what you think in the comments below. And like I said, be sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Johnny Torch Live number 255. Torch News Roundup number 292. And it's exciting. It's reinvigorating me. And like I said, for a time there, we were doing shows like every week because there was some stuff to talk about. There was excitement in the air. And we really haven't had that in a while. I think we're getting there again. And we'll be here to cover it if it does get exciting again. So until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.